So the first ever felony conviction of a U.S. president is making the rounds, shall we say, among voters, and everyone, like everything Trump related, everyone has an opinion or on it one way or the other. And so here's an interesting NBC article regarding some of these opinions. Battleground voters sound off on how Trump's guilty verdict will shape 2024. Residents of Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin split on whether the New York trial will send voters running from Trump or ultimately rebound in his favor. Voters across several battleground states reacted to former President Donald Trump's guilty verdict in New York with a mixture of disgust at his conduct and anger at the court, with a side of uncertainty about the charges he faced in the hush money trial. More than 30 voters in Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin who spoke to NBC News painted different pictures of potential outcomes after the verdict, with some suggesting it will hurt the former president in the 2024 election, while a few others thought it would rebound to his benefit. Others noted that views of Trump have grown so hardened over the past 8 years that very few people might shift either way after this. Quote, I mean, you can say it would change the race, but with him, he's tricky, unquote, said Jemiah Reed, a 21-year-old from Phoenix who is undecided on her 2024 vote. She added that Trump has a, quote, a lot of supporters and they're very stern on their belief to support him, so I don't think that the trial will make people not support him. It's sad to say, but they look at him like a god, unquote. And while Trump's guilty verdict penetrated the bubbles of people who don't typically follow the news every day, the details of the trial were still lost on a number of voters who spoke with NBC News. Asked if he understood the charges Trump faced in New York, 28-year-old Jalil Gray of Mesa, Arizona, said no, though he thought Trump's past now might hurt him. In 2024, even after Gray supported him in 2016 and 2020, he is undecided now. I'm a comment person here. Live day to day, do my own thing, work, make money, go home, Gray said about the charges Trump faced. Whatever he does is what he does. Coda Furman, a Kenosha, Wisconsin resident who is not currently planning to vote, said, quote, I was just on TikTok scrolling past and I saw some memes about what happened with Trump and all that. Something happened to him in court and all that, and he got caught. Several Trump supporters noted that his legal trouble in 2023, when he was indicted in New York and 3 other jurisdictions on charges including allegedly mishandling classified documents and conspiring to overturn the 2020 election results, ended up boosting his polling in the GOP primary. Quote, it might have them vote for him even more because of what they put him through, said Barbara Bennett, 83, a retired nurse assistant in Phoenix, who this year is planning to vote for Trump for a 3rd time. Quote, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things about his personality that I don't like, but I did love his presidency, unquote. Quote, I think it's going to backfire. I really do, said Ronald Grapp, another long-term Trump supporter from Pittsburgh. Quote, most people want to have the decision in their hands, not the decision of some court in New York, unquote. In Georgia, an Anami L., 32-year-old of Clayton County resident who declined to share his name, said he was moved to support Trump. My reaction, because I'm a felon, this is a quote, I would like to vote for Trump, Imani said, calling him more relatable to young black people like himself. What he did in the past, what he's got going on, don't have nothing to do with his business side. He's a good businessman, so I'd vote for him. But plenty of other voters said the verdict would give them or their acquaintances pause. From what I've seen, this is another quote, it seems like I'd probably still vote Trump, but he doesn't seem like as good of a candidate after being found guilty, said Vincent Beltram of Kenosha, Wisconsin, who also said he didn't think President Joe Biden was a good enough candidate. He added, quote, it's messed up that he went that way to win the race. I don't know. Maybe I'll still vote for him. We'll see. Another Arizona voter who supported Trump in the past had similar things to say. Quote, I think it's such a close election. This could control the electorate in a different direction, that people may not want to elect a convicted felon, said Robbie Mayer, a 75-year-old retired prosecutor from Phoenix who twice backed Trump but is planning to sit out the 2024 election, saying both Trump and Biden are terrible. So, I mean, as no one would, I don't think anyone would not have expected this. It's a mixed reaction. And it is, it's a big moment in American history. It can't not be. So it'd be foolish to not have an opinion on it. But I don't know. My general thought process is more or less that I think this will hurt him in the end. Now, it is true, sometimes he does go up in the polls after, having a bad day in court or having some controversy going on. That's not untrue in the case of Trump. And maybe some people, like one of the gentlemen they spoke to, will find him relatable. I actually think he said that quote struck me because I think I remember Trump saying something to the effect of "Black people will relate to me more if I'm a convicted felon." And I'm like, oh my God. Well, some lay person out there agrees. So, but that was just another one of his crazy Trumpisms. But anyway, I think most people will find it hard to vote for a convicted felon. Putting aside any ethical debates about that, I think most people they hear someone's a convicted felon and they distrust them. They don't like them. They view them as suspicious or bad or, and people. I think this prestige is kind of going away, but there's this sort of vague idea that the president is like the president, the leader of the free world is like stands above the fray and is like there to lead us all into victory and is supposed to be a beacon of leadership and courage and American values. The president's a figurehead. Put it in a phrase. And I think most people would find it hard to say that they would want their figurehead to be a convicted felon. We'll see. As I said, I think in the last video, my optimism that Trump will lose is being etched away a little bit the closer and closer we get to the election, just because of Biden's unrepentant support of Israel. It is true. It's sad that we're having a repeat of 2020. It's sad that these two candidates are still the ones we have in the running, and that we came up with nobody better in either party in the last 4 years. So the person who was like, yeah, they're both terrible. You're right. I think people realize that. I think the American people, most of them are like, yeah, these are both bad candidates. So why do we have them? It's how it shook out for various reasons. Maybe Trump will somehow squeak by into the White House. Maybe, voters have short-term memory. Maybe they'll want something new. But again, I think most people would find it really hard to vote for a convicted felon. And, I think most people will see this as sort of a businessman who is finally getting what's coming to him. Will it affect his supporters? No, not a chance. He could shoot a man on camera. They would still support him no matter what. But I don't think it's those he needs to, those voters needs to worry about. It's the independents. It's the moderates. Those are what got him in the office, and those were what got him a win in 2016, and he has to repeat that in 2024 or he's screwed.